Hi, I'm Olga Kravets, and in this episode, I'll show you how I post-produce my portraits shot with natural light. Before you start selecting your pictures, you never do it on your card, you offload your cards. Ideally, you do it directly onto 2 drives. I'm gonna go through every shoot and I'm gonna explain you how I'm gonna be choosing the pictures which will work as individual pictures, but also the portraits that will eventually become part of my long-term project. With Marcel, when we met, as we started to walk around, I asked him to pose and I started to shoot. It's just a little trick to get him used to the camera. I knew that at this point there is nothing amazing. I'm not gonna be using these pictures. It's just really to prepare him before we arrive to some important location. And indeed, the next location was just outside of this house. It's maybe not a classic portrait, but for environmental portrait it works because what is Marcel? In the context of this particular project, it's also the space he inhabits. So that's why I try to take this portrait far away. So as you see, unfortunately, as I was trying to capture his expression, which only lasted for about 5 seconds, what I didn't really notice is that there is my shadow in the frame, not so classy. So I'm gonna do something radical for the sake of this exercise, and I'm gonna try to edit myself out. Okay, so this is the original frame. I'm gonna try to go vertical because in the end, who knows, for the book it might go handy. I actually really love the original frame, but there is my shadow, and since it's documentary photography, my shadow is there. So let's move on to Aurélie. We had 10 minutes, and the idea, of course, is when you have 10 minutes, you wanna get away with at least one great picture. I wanted her to look at the mirror because in the mirror I can see the background, and as you see, I'm keeping my background sharp because I want to know what's the place. There is this magic triangle you can paint with the light, and you have a catch light in her eye, and everything falls in place perfectly. We have the snapshots of reality, and for me, this is what my portraiture is about. It's really not just about me imagining what kind of woman I have in my picture. It's about the collaboration between me and the subject. Shooting Christian for me was really incredible experience because I think what I really love to do is that this exchange becomes mutual and that during my time I spend with the person I can give something back. So Christian has been really sad and lonely since his wife passed away. He's used to silence and sometimes he just gives way to this silence, and what can be better for me as a photographer? And at some point I start shooting and then some magic happens, as you will see in some pictures. So I'm gonna be taking these pictures. I'm gonna put them in Photoshop. And then I'm gonna select them all. And I'm gonna do something brutal just to see what it gives in terms of reflection. What I'm looking for is that I can see his full face, but of course he's making these micro movements, so it's not always there. So naturally I'm gonna eliminate all the pictures like this where it's not perfect over here. In this particular case, and it's the case with most of my long-term projects, I would work with professional retoucher. So I'm using Photoshop now as a kind of sketchbook to see if I'm able to find the perfect framing for the reflection, and then I'm gonna make notes and I'm gonna send it to my retoucher, and then I'm gonna get the final result back. I'm really happy with this result. This is something that I was looking for to find at Marcel's place, and I think it really exceeded my expectations because what I didn't expect to have is this window closed. Wonderful. So let's caption our pictures. I'm gonna use my favorite one as an example. So I wrote this caption in a way I would write it for the media client because that's what my training is. So I retained essential information, the full name, the age, where he lives, and what essentially we can tell about him if we can only have few words to describe this picture. Then, as you see, I already have these two fields pre-filled. It comes directly from my camera. The hour comes directly from the camera. So I'm gonna fill in the city. And if we want, we can even add the province, which is Ile-de-France. And that's about it. I'm just editing my credit, one extra credit field, taking my author's rights really seriously, and we're done.